Craig's site, unironically called Reasonable Faith, someone named Peter from the UK wrote in asking about death. In light of Craig's new book, which claims that the Adam and Eve story is purely figurative mythohistory, what is your view on the biblical connection between sin and death? It seems as though there are only three options. 1. God intended for death to be part of his design for the universe in the first place, and that humans would have died anyway, even if they had never sinned / the fall never occurred. 2. God did not intend for death to be part of the design of the universe, and it was human sin / the fall which directly caused it. Somehow, our moral rebellion against God broke the universe, i.e. somehow we caused fundamental biological and physical processes to change when we rebelled. 3. God did not intend for death to be part of his design for the universe, but when humans sinned / the fall happened, God responded to it by cursing the universe, and he introduced death into it himself, because he knew that that was the most appropriate way to respond to what humanity had done. Humanity, it was two people. Remember, Peter is asking this question of Craig in light of Craig's, quote, research into the historical Adam, end quote. Again, that research led Bill to conclude that the story of Adam and Eve, as presented in the opening chapters of Genesis, is purely figurative mythohistory. It didn't happen. Instead, Bill says that the actual historical Adam was some Homo heidelbergensis named Fred, who lived between 750,000 and 1 million years ago with his wife Wilma and their dog Dino. Bill's answer to Peter's question is one of the most gymnastic, deceitful bits of apologetics you will find anywhere. Obviously, we're not going through the whole thing here because A, it will melt your brain, and 2, it's just too long. No one loves the sight of Bill's writing more than Bill. So I'll put a link in the description if you'd like to read it for yourself. But let's look at Bill's final paragraph in light of his very scholarly, thought-through, well-researched ideas on the historical Adam. So looking at your three options, Peter, my view doesn't fit exactly any of them. The closest would be 1, in the sense that Adam and Eve were naturally mortal. But that shouldn't be taken to imply that, quote, God intended for death to be part of his design for the universe in the first place, end quote. For according to the story, God had given Adam and Eve the tree of life to rejuvenate them for as long as they wished, end quote. What Craig means with that last bit, as he explains in excruciating detail earlier in his answer, is that Adam and Eve were created mortal, and that they, quote, missed out on a chance of immortality, end quote, by eating from the tree of knowledge, getting themselves kicked out of Eden before they could eat from the tree of life. Had they eaten instead from the tree of life, they would never have had to experience either physical death or spiritual death, separation from God. Makes perfect sense, right? Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Capital W exclamation point. Bill's own research tells us that the story of Adam and Eve and the garden is bullshit. It never happened. Fred and Wilma were not special creations living in an arboretum with two very special, very magical trees, a tree of life and a tree of knowledge. Immortality was never on the table for these fine and furry folks, according to Bill.
I mean, when you read a story about two people in an arboretum with these magical trees whose fruit, if you eat it, will grant you immortality or knowledge of good and evil, and then there's this talking snake who comes along and tempts them into sin. And then you have this anthropomorphic God walking in the cool of the garden, calling out audibly to Adam in his hideout. You think, well, of course this is figurative.
Did you hear that, Bill? That ass just shot down your attempt to get God off the hook for a world filled with death and suffering. William Lane Craig is either the most disingenuous, deceitful Christian apologist alive, or the stupidest motherfucker to have ever walked the planet. Or both. Think about it. This was not some random person calling in to Bill on some talk show. This answer was not off the cuff. Bill thoughtfully wrote this answer. he edited this answer and posted this answer. And from the beginning to the end, he can't remember his own very scholarly, very well-researched work claiming that the trees of knowledge and life are utter nonsense, figurative, mytho-history. Bill, you can't use a made-up story you've called figurative to explain, well, anything. You can't just bring that story back in its literal sense whenever it suits you, even when you're trying to cover God's ass. And I get that. Yeah, I do. But Jesus, Bill, there's something called intellectual honesty. Oh, who am I kidding? He doesn't care about that. Why does anyone take this man seriously? Why? He can't keep two thoughts in his head together at the same time. And yet I confess, I love him. I love Bill. I do. I love him like ice cream. Christian theology is dead and Bill is the murderer. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching. I'm going to need a tissue. You see that? I got approved for the super thanks. Shoot, you're in full screen mode. You can't see it. So tip your phone this way. Well, okay. Well, now it's over here and it's kind of cut off. That's not going to work. Go back to full screen. Right. Okay. Now look at this. Do you see that? The little thanks with the $sign? That's a super thanks. That means if you like one of my videos here, you can send me a couple dollars or 50 right here on YouTube without going anywhere else. It's amazing. Of course, I'm not really expecting you to send me $50. That would be crazy, right? But if that's not your bag, baby, you can head over to patreon.com/Mr. Deity and become a patron. Check the link in the description below. You'll get blessings, thoughts, front row seats to the apocalypse, the magification of your underwear, and you'll get all of these videos up to a month earlier. That's amazing. It has literally never been easier for you to help me help you help me. And to everyone who's already helped out, especially my wonderful patrons, I love you guys so much. Thank you, 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 thank you. And I'll see you in a couple of days with an even better video. I know, it's crazy. I don't know how I'm doing it either. I just keep making better and better videos. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm like fine wine. What do they say? That you just get older with age? I think that's the saying. Or maybe it's that my earlier videos were just such crap that anything would be better than those. So maybe I just set the bar really low. That's